Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Bridge Between podcast. I am Sosa. This is Raina and Erica who will introduce themselves. Before we get started, Erica is going to do a card for this podcast.
What's up, guys? So I'm going to be working with my deck creations, the Archer's Discernment Oracle deck, and also my original baby, the Archer's Answers Oracle deck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a universal message for the collective with both. So may this resonate with anyone and everyone who sees it whenever they see it, whether it hits now or later. Sometimes with my readings, it makes sense later. Okay. But this is for whoever sees this whenever you see it. Truth be told, what do we need to know? Truth be told. Okay. I'm getting a time frame already. Okay. I see something on the bottom of the deck that I'll get to also. Now let's add this in. Universal message for the collective. May it resonate with anyone and everyone who sees it. Truth be told. Okay. Okay, yes. Okay, so first, the bottom of the deck is saying an answer of no, but for the best. So for some of you, you may have something that you're wondering about. You may be wondering about, is now the time? You may be wondering about whatever it is. The answer right now, however it resonates with you, and maybe it'll click later, is a no, but it's for the best. So if it was something you were hoping about and you get a no, or you're looked over for something, or the timing is just not right now, it's a no, but for the best. But or maybe you won't see the results yet. Maybe it is something comes through for you, but you don't really see the results playing out until sometime next year. So however that hits for you, take what resonates, release what doesn't. There's something better coming, or the results will come sometime next year. But the reason they say that too is right now there's some kind of therapy that is needed. So this could be going to actually get therapy and counseling and help. It could be doing something that is therapeutic to you, that is a self-care practice like meditation or a vacation or whatever it is, doing something therapeutic. But this is about going deeper, and I like to call it soul surgery. People will call it shadow work, but this is about, you can't keep jumping over the issues of something or the fears or whatever it is. You need to go deeper. There's some therapy needed, and there's a power struggle here too. So this could be power struggle with your mindset of what's going on within you, like you're battling yourself, or it could be a power struggle between you and another person, or maybe it's a group of people. Maybe it's you and your boss. I don't know. Or maybe it's you and the person you're in a relationship. There's a power struggle at play, but there's some deeper healing that's needed, and that's why they're saying therapy is needed. But bigger change, bigger results coming sometime next year. So there you go.
I just want to say that's amazing, because if you think about, we're going into a new moon in Taurus, and then after that on the 26th is the eclipse, and eclipse is really like you're cutting things out. So it's like a huge transformation, and that's also actually why we came together. We'll go into introductions in a second, but I also just want to bring in why it's so important to have certain messages like this at this time in our lives, because we need direction and we need guidance. We need spiritual guidance. And people get confused of like what spirituality is and how we exercise that. I brought Erica on because she's literally the only tarot reader that I actually go to for the last like 2 years, I would want to say, or myself. And yeah, the need to discern right now is super, super important. So before I go into that, Erica, sorry, you were going to say something?
Oh, we had a jumper. So somebody else had something to say. It's the message of doing the most. Oh. So some of you, or maybe some of us, you guys are just doing the most. So it's kind of like needing to relax a little bit, be more in the flow mode, be more in receptive mode. Stop trying to control so much. Stop doing the most. And for some of you, this could be somebody else in your life that is doing the most and is overwhelming you. However you want to take that. And there's just a need to kind of maybe take some space, focus on yourself. But this flew out. When they jump out like that, I always take that as like, okay, this needs to be said.
Yeah.
So
who is Erica? Tell us. And also let us know where they can get your deck.
Okay.
Yes.
So both of these decks, they're available on makeplayingcards.com/sell, SELL / Psychic Goddess Erica. And Erica is spelled with a K, ERIKA. If you're interested, this one is 100 cards with the holographic back, and this one is 88 cards with just like a traditional finish. It's smaller, so that's going to play into the price difference. There's a significant price difference, but that's why they're different pricing, is because of the make of them both. So yeah, you can find them there if you're interested. Also, if you want to book a reading, I will probably talk about this later, but I might as well since we're already on this.
Yes, go ahead.
You can email me, psychicgoddesserica@gmail.com. My business Instagram is @psychicgoddesserica, and my YouTube channel is Psychic Goddess Erica. And again, that's Erica with a K, ERIKA. But who am I? Still discovering that every day, right? Aren't we all? Because we're always changing and evolving and growing. But I'm not a fan of labels, you guys might know.
Girl, me too.
But you could say I'm a tarot therapist. You could say I'm a psychic advisor, psychic reader, a psychic empath, a clairvoyant. But I'm not just clairvoyant. I'm also clairaudient, clairsentient, claircognizant. I always mess up that word.
I know.
All of the clairs.
All the clairs.
So, among other things, like my mediumship ability is increasing over this past year, even more and more and more. So I'm many different things. This is why I'm like, I don't want to be in a box. I don't want to be in any box. But overall, I'm going to call myself a majestic being.
Yes.
And I'm a goddess.
Yes, so. Period.
But yeah, so if you need help looking into a situation, I can help with that. I do predict the future, but I always like to say in the disclaimer, future is not set in stone. So whatever I'm predicting is probable based upon what you're currently doing, your past momentum, but also, so basically it's more of like, this is where it's likely to go. But if you choose a whole different path, it can change the path. Like if I'm saying, hey, don't call him, he's gonna call you, but your anxiety gets hold of you and you call him and now you just changed the whole thing. You know what I mean? So future's not set in stone. Energy is always changing. And I do like to say, even though I'm fully capable of predicting long term, I prefer not to. I tend to predict within a year's time as far as energy of things. And the reason for that is because we have free will choice. Energy is always changing. And, at the end of the day, what does it matter what's happening 10, 11, 12 years from now when tomorrow's not promised, first of all. And also, if you are so worried about something that you're obsessing about it and like you just got to get through today because the power is in the now. The future, you develop the future, you create the future in the present. So I don't want you... I say this a lot too, like I don't want people getting too stuck even on what I say. Use it as a reference, use it as a navigation for your choices. But what I say is not end all be all, or any psychic or any healer or whatever you want to go to. Don't take their guidance as end all be all, because you have the choices. You create your future. So you can take it as a navigation tool. And to take the advice and go that direction, or do the opposite, which people do.
Free will.
So, free will. Sometimes you guys do that. And then you come back to me and you tell me, and then you want another reading. But still, that's why I prefer to keep it within a year, because I want to help you guys step by step. I want to help you guys. Okay, what's the problem now? Let's get through this. And this is probably where the next step is going to go. Once we get there, okay, now let's go a little further. Your future's not set in stone. So I'm not a fortune teller. I like to make that clear. I don't like that term. No offense to anybody who calls himself that, but I don't prefer that, because I don't tell your fortune. I'm not telling you how it is. Yeah. I'm working with channeling your energy and helping you to navigate through it and where things are likely to go step by step. So that's me.
Yes. There's more to that. But yes, that's her in a nutshell. Someone who definitely is here to serve everyone's highest good. And always has that in mind, for sure. And Raina, I just want to say, Raina is such a healing force for me because ever since I met her like 2 years ago, I was like, this is just like a younger version of me. And then she was like, I'm a Sagittarius moon, I'm a Sagittarius sun. So I feel like when you meet people with those opposite moons and signs, you really do see that opposite in shadow work too. And so I've worked with Raina through readings, through Reiki, through meditations, through sound baths. We've worked a lot together in the last 2 years. She's been a huge fan of my purification oil.
Go buy
I love
it.
that.
That part. We'll talk about that later. But I just want to do a little quick intro on her because it was just like just the universe aligned us. Like met her super casually, interviewed her, and then asked her if she was. What was the story that I asked?
You asked me if I was a healer, and I was like, dude, I don't know. And you were like, you probably are. Everyone here is like a healer in their own way, and like epiphanies. And honestly, that was the first time that I ever talked on camera, and that was my first ever like spiritual event workshop that I had ever been to, and I went there by myself, and I was so scared, kind of similar to how I'm feeling right now, but knowing that it's like excitement, it's but yeah, she asked me if I was a healer, and I was like, I don't know, dude. And you were like, yeah, I'm sure you are. And she interviewed me, and it went super well, and I was like, wow, like I gotta come back here. And we followed each other, and we've been going back and forth ever since. That's how the story's been told.
Yeah. So tell us, I guess, like like how do you work with spirituality? Like how I brought you here because we all bring different flavors to what spirituality is, how we incorporate spirituality in our everyday lives, especially in a very changing world right now. So maybe just a little bit intro, maybe like where you're from and like how spirituality has really come through you, and also your ancestry. Like your ancestors are really, really strong, powerful energy. So tell us.
So shout out to my ancestors because I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for them,
Yeah,
but I'm from Torrance, California, South Bay area, as I like to call it, SoCal. Born and raised, never been anywhere else, crazily. And I like to call myself clairaudience. I get messages from spirit. I hear it like sometimes in song, in lyric form and rap form. Sometimes I like to flow.
She be rapping.
And I like to write. I get clairgustance. I can taste certain things.
Oh, that's what that's called.
Yeah, clairgustance. Yeah,
Okay.
clairgustance.
I love that
I just
word.
recently looked into that. And claircognitant, I get the feeling, the knowing, and then sometimes I can smell. It's what is that when you can smell? Clair something.
Clairsentient.
Yeah, clairsentient. Yeah, sometimes I can smell when something's around, like my ancestors. I'm like, oh, somebody's here. And I work with spirit. I would say I don't want to say actually I'm new to working with spirit because I've been into astrology. I would say was my gateway into spirituality when I was a kid. My aunt used to be like, you're a Virgo, you know that, right? And we're the only Virgos in the family. I'd be like, what that mean? You know what I mean? And they used to always give me the birthstones for the Virgo and for the August. And that's when I got into crystals. And I would say astrology, crystals. And then eventually I started picking up some tarot cards and oracle cards and reading myself for fun. And I've just been diving deeper into spirituality. Now I like to work with herbs. Like I like using herbs for myself for healing. Like I like to take ginkgo biloba for cognitive clarity and stuff like that. I love plants in general. I have like a green thumb, I think I would like to say. I have a lot of plants in my house.
Yes.
And I would say that I got a reading in, I think it was 2019 or 2020. And it was like a past life ancestor reading from the Half-Assed Witch. You can follow her on Instagram. She's really cool as well. And she told me that my Lola Brew was like stirring, which was a great grandmother on my mom's side of the family. And my mom is Filipino from the Philippines, and my dad is Black from LA, and are African American if you want to get technical. And I asked my mom about it. I was like, yo, mom, is there a witch in our family? Like, what's going on? Like, people are telling me that, like, I can do kitchen magic and I can make oils and do all types of stuff. And, like, she's calling to me. And at first, my mom denied it and was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then later on, she was like, oh, my God, they might be talking about your Lola Brew. And, like, Lola means grandma in Tagalog traditionally. And brew means, short for bruja, because they used to call her a witch. And I've just been really resonating with her spirit. I remind myself of her in a way, like I see myself being like her. She was very known in her city. I feel like I'm very known in my area, or at least like I'm known for good things. You know what I mean? I'm very sociable.
She is. She really is.
Yeah.
No, you really are.
Yeah,
You're really
everyone
loved.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I feel like everywhere I go, I see someone I know. So,
Yeah.
and I like to, be around community and around people. And I think I was very honored to be asked to be a part of this podcast with Erica and Sosa for them to even hear me speak or want to hear me speak on this podcast is amazing because I'm still, trying to figure out who I am. Like Erica, I'm not a fan of labels. Like you can call me a medium per se because I get channeled messages as well. Psychic sometimes, I'm still figuring out, and that's the beauty of this path is that you're ever changing and ever growing, like like butterflies and just like plants were growing, and I just spirituality has really helped transform my life and created how there's that book, The Series of Unfortunate Events. I feel like my book has become the series of magical events, and
Yes.
like it's just so many magical and divine experiences have been happening every day since I decided to listen to my higher self and my intuition. I was like, I just read, like I kept saying, what's intuition? I'm like, what is that? And I was like, I'm gonna figure it out. But I knew it was more like awakening or remembering inside of me. And I think Sosa and Erica helped me remember who has been inside of me. Like now I've been having memories of me as a kid, having messages, and like I'm like, oh man, I totally forgot about that. So just remembering who I really am and stepping forward into that and helping you guys understand that it's okay to do that, to like not be sure and like learn. I think that's the space that I'm coming from, at least. And
1,000%.
yes.
Clairsentience is when you can smell, because I always thought it was when you could feel messages.
Oh yeah, is it feeling or is I
Because
think
I
it
was
might-
like, have I been wrong this whole
No,
time?
you know what? I think you might be right. I think it might be feeling. I feel like it's clear. Like I know gustance is for sure the
We're getting caught up in labels.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right. Sorry.
Right.
No, I was just saying, man, I've been saying it wrong the whole
Right.
time.
We
feel
got it all.
things.
We got it all.
We got it all.
Yeah, we got it
And
all.
My bad.
we will go back into labels though, and then I want to go back into how we incorporate spirituality and all this.
Yes.
I'll introduce myself. My name is Sosa. I like to look at myself as an energy worker, energy reader. I work very, 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 very into the energy world, the non-physical, working with chakras, not only chakras of our bodies, but the chakras of the land, and to understand the chakras of our planet. And to understand chakras is to also understand portals and the energy work. And for me, it is very, I guess, celestial where I work in my realm. A lot of what I do too is Akashic readings, tapping into the Akashic records, past life regression, inner child healing through Reiki, also through Akashic records, readings as well, spiritual guidance. And I got on this path because I needed to heal myself through.
That's why I'm
Yeah, I never, even the word healer, it's interesting because we talked about that the other day, and I actually don't really like using that word for myself, just because it's been so like dragged in the last couple of years of like who represents our community when we say things like healer. But I went in to heal myself. I never had the intention to do this ever.
Same, yeah. it was all about in the beginning getting it right.
Once I got my ego even out thinking like this is healing me, and then I was just like, well, this is not even about me. Like this is about the larger scale of things, of what's happening. Because if it's happening within me, it's happening outside of me and my community, and especially within the melanin community. And that is also the reason why we decided to do this podcast, because us three, I should say, like out of all the women that I know, you three are like the ones I can really vibe with. And like every time that we speak on very beautiful things of how we see the world, and we decode it. Like we open our channel pretty much.
We're
when
exploring the patterns of the
we do.
universe.
We like every time that we're together, it's like I quantum leap with you guys, and like I do that with other
Heck
people
yeah.
too. But when we come together, it's like ceremony. It's something very
Definitely.
different, and so that's why this podcast is like, oh, we're like it's like the triple goddesses coming together.
Yes. And I just want to touch on what you said about the whole word healer. I think we don't like to necessarily keep that label on ourselves, because I feel like we're more like catalysts towards people's healing. Because like you said, the healing comes from within. Like we just more like awaken you or bring awareness to what you need to be healed on, not necessarily like we're doing the healing. Because at the end of the day, you got to do the healing. We can't like do the shadow work or do the inner work or the soul surgery for you. Like you have to take initiative in your own life and in your own right to decide and choose to be in control of your reality and the way your life looks. And that's why I think we don't, love the word healer. Like it's a good word, don't get me wrong. Like if you call yourself a healer, no no judgment or anything like that. But I think we like to call ourselves catalysts or guides or something that's more of like an activator or pusher towards where you need to go. Navigator.
That's a good point, you guys, because I've caught myself in the past using the word healer a lot too, and then I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but it's like more so like amplifying what needs to be healed, like bringing that out, because we can say all day, this is what we see, this is where it's probably going to go, this is what you should do, or we suggest rather, because the choice is always yours. But we can do this all day, but it's up to you to take the advice, to take the guidance, to make the change, because nobody, and this is why
in life,
this is why I personally, I'm not speaking for anybody else, because I do know that there are people that will do energy work for other people to help them heal. And it's good to have that help, maybe like a boost, like what
support,
you do, the support. Yes. But the real healing does take place within you. And this is also why it's like, what if I do a candle for this or for that, and they think that's going to fix everything. But if you haven't done the work inside, it's not going to fix it. It's either going to like push the desire that you might have away further, or it may go a whole different direction. It's just so many things that can backfire if you're not doing the work on you, on your own, because those things are just meant to be like a garnish.
It's all about the integration afterwards of the healing. Like you come to us or one of us, and what do you take home? Like, how do you feel afterwards? How does it make you feel? How does that resonate inside of you? And how are you going to move forward with those feelings and those advice that we gave you? So
I'm not downplaying like doing work like candle magic and stuff. You guys know I love that. I do it all day, every day.
Me too.
All the time.
What I'm saying is, if the power in yourself is not there, none of that is gonna work. That's
I think what we're saying is we don't want you to be codependent on us to do the healing work for you. Because there's a lot of healers that want to make you feel like, oh, you got to come to me to fix yourself, and it's like we love when you guys come to us. It's awesome. Like, thank you, so grateful. But also, like, if you keep coming to us with the same problem, you're not really healing, right? You got to take something in and do some. You got some soul homework. I like to call it soul homework. So
It was also spiritual bypassing.
Yes.
And we'll get to that in a second. But there was another thought that I wanted to bring her. The reason of healing, like for me, was just like, well, then why do we need healing though? And to the perspective of looking at our world as a whole. And for me, I needed healing to decode this world so that I could remove myself from programming. So when we speak about programming too, and this is like, I guess, like an early disclaimer of this podcast in general, that we do speak of the shadow realm. And, some of us use the word light worker, which I have used it. And I use the word shadow worker a lot too, because I work a lot in the subconscious mind, but in the darker realms. A lot of people have stories of like seeing light beings when they were children. I saw a lot of dark beings as a child, and that was like both. The world. And some people don't want to even talk about that. I did see both, but I saw mostly it was dark. It was just like the way I grew up. And so that's why I shut down my gifts very early on until 4 years ago. But going back to healing and like what's needed, it's to, I don't want to say wake up, because like the spiritual awakening word is so overused, but it's to realize that we're more than just basic ass humans.
We are magical beings.
And yes, we really are though. Like that's we really are. We're the alchemy to this whole puzzle that's happening. And we want to bring some more grounding techniques and conversations to get us out of this box of thinking that we need to give constantly our power away outside of us, whether it's through advertisement, through restrictions, through our government, education, and all that stuff. And this is all the shit we talk about all the time. And this is it could be triggering for people because people don't like to talk about the truth of certain things.
Trigger warning for every single episode of this podcast.
Episode.
Just saying.
Because we're not gonna sugarcoat a lot of stuff. A lot of us have been through experiences through both trenches, and we personally just want, it's not even to warn you, but it's more of like, we know that this world is shifting. It's in the stars. If you look at astrologers who are predicting a lot of stuff, I mean,
It's getting crazy up there,
it is
y'all.
wild. I mean, you can't deny the things that are happening. I mean, we have physical proof of it, right? But we're people that don't get caught up in that programming, and we clearly see the divide between the 3D reality and the 5D that's happening, and we're going into higher consciousness, but there is a shift happening. So if any of y'all want to talk about that.
Well, it's like they say, as above, so below. So what's going on above us is going to affect us here on Earth. And I feel like, just as you asked, why do we need healing? I feel like we need healing because it's really important that we heal so that we can stop repeating the cycles that are harmful to us, that don't serve us, things like that, whether that's on a personal level or a collective level. That's why we also need healing so that we don't continue to pass down those same cycles of trauma and pain, and ancestral trauma over to our children. I feel like I am the person in my family that's breaking these generational curses and things like that. They say the black sheep in the family is the one that does that. Hey, that's me. So I feel like this is why we need healing as individuals, as a community, as a collective, all of this, so that the things that everybody's complaining about, all of that, it starts with healing so that we can stop these cycles and stop having to repeat the same lesson over and over and over.
And I truly believe everybody has their unique medicine here. Like, no matter what you believe in, like, we're all here to express our highest potential and live life from that so that we could provide and also like raise our chi. Like, I've been really into my morning routine of like raising my chi in the morning, because it's like the world is wild. And I'm one, I take the bus and the train, so I'm out there around people all the time. So, which is great energy work for me, because I'm of this world. And for a certain time, I think when I went into my heavy spirituality, I was like isolating myself completely. Like, or it was just, I mean, it's really fucking confusing, when you start to open up to those realms, and then, you get experiences of mediumship, and you're like, what is this? Like,
that was me.
Yeah, like you question, like, what else is there? Some people though fear that, and I know that's a common theme within the melanin community, how we run away from our psychic gifts and our powers. I've literally had people being like, I don't want to live with this. I don't want to live with having messages all the time, and like,
it's a responsibility.
But what do we do with that?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not in that phase where I don't want my gifts. I definitely want my gifts. I want all the gifts. All of it. Give it to me. I receive it, Yes. I'm taking it. And but I think it was a matter of accepting, hey, this is a spiritual experience. Not like I've been very in that denial of like what's been going on, but it's like I'm doing spiritual work, so obviously there's bound to be spiritual experiences. And then what's the point of me trying to deny my experiences because it doesn't look like somebody else's, the cookie cutter cut of somebody else's spiritual experience. Like, we're all, like you said, we're all different. We have our own unique magic and gifts. And I think I'm going through that, accepting that, hey, I'm having a spiritual experience. Hey, I'm feeling some energy right now. And that has been so beautiful, because I feel like I've been able to become more of myself, more in everyday life. So not only does this healing help with our spirituality, make our gifts stronger, our channel stronger, but also I become a better person to everybody. Because I understand, hey, you're projecting onto me right now. Let me give you some love and compassion about whatever is upsetting you. And then they don't know how to react. They're like, whoa, I'm throwing, whatever it is at her, and she's throwing love and compassion at me. They don't know how to respond to that. And
kill them with kindness.
Yeah, kill them with kindness. Yes. I always say that because people don't know what to do at that point, and because they've never experienced the love and compassion. So I think that this healing work, that the whole point of healing is not only to be healing ourselves, because we deserve to heal. A lot of people think that this life is about suffering, or there's people addicted to suffering. That's a whole nother episode. That's a whole nother journey about people that are addicted to suffering. But like, yeah. But it's important that, we heal, because like you said, we got to break these cycles. We want things, and it's okay to want things and desire them. And it's okay to bring it into life. Like, if your mind's eye sees that you're doing this and it doesn't look like what society wants you to do, who cares? Just go ahead and do that, and that's healing that too. Like, I feel like people start healing and they see themselves doing new things and they're like, whoa, or at least this is me. I'm speaking from my perspective. I see myself doing new things and I get scared and fearful and doubtful. And I'm like, whoa, what am I doing? And I'm like, no, I'm healing. Like, my healing's expanding at this point. We're expanding on that into the outer worlds. I was in my inner world for so long, and now we're going outside and sharing.
Expose yourself.
Yeah, I'm exposing myself, and it's, whew, this is a whole other journey for me, guys. Trust me.
You even got your mic all far away from
I
you
know,
and everything.
exactly.
I
That's
saw
what I'm
you.
saying.
I
I'm like-
was like, let me do. She's gonna do her thing. She's gonna do her thing.
I got all excited at one point when I think it's when you said like you were saying like I feel spirituality is a custom design. It's
Mhm.
not one way. So the way I did it may be different from all of you.
Correct.
And what works for me may be different from all of you. But this is why knowing yourself, self-awareness, and this is why doing research is important. Try different things. Try different lanes of spirituality. Try different
All the time.
yeah, even like try different religions if you have to. Like
Yeah.
find what works for you, what connects, because I personally believe there's no right or wrong way to connect with, source. And so whatever works for you is just when it gets to be like this is wrong and this is right, that's when I feel like people are going off course, So it's a custom design. And I got all excited when he said, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly it. Like do what works for you. And I feel like my whole life has been about doing things that's not the norm for other people or doing things that was different than what they thought I should do. I quit a government job to go dance in New Mexico. Like my good government job, my family thought it was nuts. You know what I mean? And like, even the fact, like my birth itself, I was telling you guys, I was a preemie. I was born 2 months early. My spirit was like, I'm going now. Like
You came in.
screw your schedule.
But you wanted to come here, I feel.
Yeah.
Like you came early. You was like, I'm not missing this appointment to be on Earth.
They need it
They
now.
need it. And funny, I didn't want to come in. I actually came in 2 days late. And y'all seen my newborn picture. I look very angry.
She was so mad at her.
And I had to actually release a lot of anger. What are you
I'm
doing?
like, I'm trying to count how many days I came early. I'm like,
You were early too?
yeah, so I was supposed to be born on the 27th, but I came out on the 23rd. Yeah.
Isn't that
and-
Kobe's jersey?
Yeah,
Nice.
that's Kobe's birthday.
That's Kobe's birthday?
Yeah,
the
that's
day
why
you were
it's his-
born?
Yeah, the day I was born. We're both 11s too. We're both life path 11s.
Oh.
Yeah, and I have the same birthday as Kobe. Like every year, I'd be like, "Happy birthday, Kobe and me." Like I always say, I'm the Black
Kobe and
Mamba.
me.
Like I'm like, don't let me play a sport because I'm gonna go Kobe on you.
Oh man.
I'm like, he's
Kobe
within
love.
me.
Kobe was someone very inspiring. It
Yeah.
definitely changed LA that day that happened.
You know what I will say, which was crazy. I went for a walk the day after, a week after Kobe had passed or transitioned, and there was this kid running in our neighborhood, talking about Kobe, like saying his quotes, like if you want to succeed, you got to start. Like I could hear him
Aw.
like talking about Kobe and running, and like it was funny because you could tell he was tired, but he was so cute. Like he was really going. I was like, wow, look at the impact he's having on people. I was like, that's a powerful. I was like, I'm glad to share a birthday with a powerful. I know he's had some drama in the past, but he did
We
what
all
he did.
have.
Yeah, we all have.
I have a different opinion about Kobe too, but I'm gonna keep that to myself. We'll keep that for the other time because we do have a Kobe connection, but we're gonna integrate that maybe later on. Maybe not for
Later
the first
on,
one.
later on.
I want to talk about also sisterhood and womanhood, all of the mix of, because what my understanding is from the Celestials is that there is a rise in the divine feminine, and the divine feminine is an energy. This is a feminine planet. It is a water planet. And our subtitle is, what is our truth on earth? And part of my healing is to understand that most of us have been brought up Christian, Catholic, in certain religions that programmed us to what is God and how we give our faith and how we practice faith or devotion, et cetera, et cetera. For me, once I got into my healing journey, and then I was like, past lives started to come in so vividly, and I started to understand. So obviously we're not taught that, and then I remember being in a relationship long-term with someone, and when I started to talk about past lives, he shut it down, and he was just like, we're not teaching our future children Buddhism, and we're not talking about this, and was very quick to shut it down. But back then,
That's kind of
I
aggressive.
didn't, absolutely, it was very
Yeah.
narcissistic,
Yeah.
but back then I did things for other people. I never really stood up for myself, and
Mhm.
I didn't want any drama. I had enough drama with my family. I was not trying to create that. Never spoke up for myself until now. And so I think this is why it's important to bring women together to discuss what is happening through us, because we're all upgrading. Even the plants are upgrading. Even the land is upgrading. Everybody's receiving the sun codes that are coming in to upgrade us. But when we speak of upgrades, this is also, I guess, like, we're bringing the metaphysical into this conversation, because we're also like, hey, keep in mind we have an energy body, and this
Mhm.
energy body is interacting with the sun and the changes that are happening in the environment,
Multiple
etc.
energy bodies at
Yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly,
Mhm.
exactly.
What Sosa was talking about. I'm an only child, and not that didn't feel connected to women growing up. I do feel very connected to them, but I've always felt like I've had an easier time being able to bond with men. Not that I have struggles bonding with women. I have a lot of great women friends and stuff like that. But older women, I feel like it's nice to have around, to be in this space of sisterhood, to learn from Erica and Sosa, because we learn from each other all the time. And like, I think this is a beautiful thing for women to, hopefully this inspires you guys to get together with your fellow, goddesses or whoever you're
Hmm.
friends with, and speak about, this healing work that we talk about, because we're healing each other by having these
Yeah.
conversations. This is like
Mhm.
it's amazing.
I think for me with sisterhood, what I'm learning is because I have sisters, I have a lot of sisters, family wise, but I've been finding the joy in letting people that are not blood related
Hmm.
to join into like my sisterhood, because I don't know if other people are this way too. I know it's different for everyone. That it's like when you have like that already in like
Hmm.
family form, that it just you feel like you don't need anybody else. But sometimes it's like the universe can bring gifts
Yeah.
and other people that just if you're open to it and you're drawn to these people for whatever reason, just open up a little bit. So that's what I'm learning too in this sisterhood is like, okay, take some risks.
Mhm.
And building community. I feel like that's and I think something that you said earlier too about healing, it's like it's also the bigger question that we all want to ask ourselves, like, what are we here to serve, or what are we here to do,
Mhm.
because like there has to be more to the story and how we integrate that. And with sisterhood, for me, it's also been trust. And I think I've been in a lot of situations where I felt like I was taken advantage of, or I felt like I wasn't heard. But in reality, part of my shadow work was to be like, I was sleeping on myself. Like I
Mhm.
allowed
Mm.
that to
I've been going
happen.
through the same thing.
And a lot of the shadow work, when I speak of shadow work too, is just because we have to take responsibility for our realities. And
Accountability.
everyone in our lives is mirrors. Like, no matter how, like, your father who left your mother or abused, or like whatever happened to you, like, I've been through all kinds of things of trauma, and to take myself, and it's layers. To remove that victimhood is layers. To remove yourself from seeing yourself in that box, because then when you look at the world around you, you're like, wow, I could really shift this. It's all perspective.
It's all an illusion.
It
An
is.
illusion that our mind creates. And that's the crazy thing, is that we need to talk about, is these illusions that our mind creates based on this trauma, like trauma brain. That's a real thing. You know what I mean? It gets stuck in
Mhm.
that. And you're like, this happened to me. I remember. And it's like you said, when you do that work, you see yourself differently. And that's what I've been doing too. And I'm like, oh my God, I let this happen
Blue
to
pill
me.
or red pill?
Yeah.
Right?
Or
Or purple.
Or purple.
the
Yeah.
violet pill. That's what someone calls it, with the archangel
Oh.
Michael pill, because it is.
Ooh.
I feel like we do have choices, and I
Mhm.
think that's what we want to talk about too when we speak of programming. And I want to kind of define what that is. Like,
Mhm.
we live in a world where we're told how to dress as a woman, how to act as a
Mhm.
woman, how to even eat, what not to eat, what looks sexy, what looks unsexy, culturally what we're supposed to do, if we're
This goes for the
darker
men
skinned,
too.
light skinned. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that just becomes so, it alters our completely our awareness to who we are inside. And so I come from immigrant parents from Central America. So, and my mom's side of the family are shamans. So she always had that earth
Mhm.
element of healing, and always had herbs and other things of light magic that we didn't put categories or called it magic. We were just like, we were people of the
This is
land.
regular medicine.
We were medicine
Yeah.
people, like, it's,
Mhm.
and
It
it's
was
so
a
I'm
prescription, huh?
Mhm.
yeah. And so, speaking of how we heal, all of us have been really into just veganism and taking care of ourselves. And I've been on you guys on about water because I'm all about hydration. Like, it's so important. 150, 120 ounces every day. I'm just saying. Because it is very important. You know, like spirit runs through water. So that's why I'm also really big on hydrating ourselves, because we are going through many upgrades. And when I say upgrades, it's like we are opening ourselves up by staying at a higher vibration, by, you know, checking in with ourselves when we have those negative thoughts come in and we're just like, oh, nope, that's not the
And
timeline
water
I
will
want.
move that.
Yeah, you
will
got to move that
through your
energy.
body. And also, I feel like when people like, if you're not thinking clearly, like ask yourself, have you drank some water today? Have you eaten today?
So
Like,
Yes.
yeah, like that messes with that literally messes with your mind when you're dehydrated. Like, think about it. Your
Yes.
brain is like probably like shrinking. Like, you made it like 70% of water. It's probably like SpongeBob in that episode. I need water. Like, you need to drink that. And he's like denying himself the water. And it's like, why? Like, he needs it.
Yeah.
So we can't do that to ourselves. And I was telling Sosa before I got to her house earlier, I was like, I heard you in my head, like, drink your water. And I was like, and my dad's been on me about that too, about hydrating. And shout out to him, because now I'm like super into water.
Yeah.
But yes, it helps. Water helps heal, move the energy within us.
Water is, you know, literally life. But
Yeah.
also, too, think about this, and I think I've told you guys before, water is not, it's the same water from the beginning of time. It's just recycled.
Yeah.
So think about all of the ancestors from the beginning. Like, you can access memory of everything from the beginning through water, because it's the same. It just it's been recycled over and over and over. So that's another thing. That's why too, like, I've gotten better. I used to be really bad about not drinking water like I should, but ever since I've been more aware of it, and I have to have it around me when doing readings, and it comes easier, it flows easier now that I've made that connection, and you know, it's just important. So yeah. Drink your water.
And alkaline water. I mean, it's like, like regular
Or
water is like
spring water or
okay too,
something
but
that's alkaline.
because I say alkaline too, because it has electrolytes, and that's like what we really need for our bodies to absorb the like full hydration that we need. And unfortunately, we live in a world where it's super, super, super filtered. By the time we get it, it's dead. And there's no energy.
Yeah.
So when
It
we
gave me
say
the chills just
'cause
thinking about it.
Yo, Flint, Michigan, it still has some toxic ass water, and it's like, what is it?
Don't
now?
drink tap
7
water, y'all.
years. That was 2014. But you know, and I bless my water. I mean, I think
program or activate.
and I actually have done ceremonies around Flint, Michigan too, of like giving offerings to big bodies of water to connect with it, and just, you know, because like we forget. Like, I lived in the Caribbean, and it's wild. Like, you cannot drink the tap water out there. Like, you know, it's certain things like that you're just like, you remember how grateful it is in the States of like how accessible that you have the water,
Yeah.
and some people don't.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, man, like it is such a blessing to have clean like water. Like not everybody has that, you know what I mean? And I think we also underestimate like the power of water. Like you said, the sourceability of it all. Like back in the day, like our ancestor had to like climb mountains and carry the
Yes.
waters like on their back. You know what I
Collect it.
mean?
Collect the rain.
Yeah, collect the rainwater and stuff like that. Like it was not easy. So like I've been saying like thank you, I love you to water more. And also, I don't know if you guys have heard that book, The Secret Life of Water. That's super interesting about water.
The documentary.
Yeah, there's a book and a documentary. So yeah. Super.
Have you seen that?
No, I need to watch
The Secret Life of Water. That's what it's called. What's his name?
He's
the
a Japanese guy. Hiro I don't know.
It will come to me.
I didn't mean
But
to
it's
disrespect
basically
you, but
like
yeah.
they just literally show that how you speak, what energy frequency you give
I
to
do know.
water,
I
and
do
they
know.
freeze it. So it's like one bottle they like talked really negative, and the other bottle they spoke very positive, and it freezes very differently, or like certain things would rot faster if you speak, you know, with and
Same thing with plants.
Yeah, and it's all intention. I mean, we cast spells with our words.
Spelling is a spell.
Spelling. Yep.
Yeah, I like to draw on my water bottles. That's like a quick little magic spell I like to do. I put like love, trust, you know, clarity, whatever I'm trying to call into that water, and like I kind of say it, and then I go throughout my day. If I have a bottle, that's what I do.
Water is very protective too. I actually remember growing up. That was one of my first like magic things that my mom would do, is like a glass of water underneath our bed.
Okay.
And that would help clear energy when you sleep, because the water will accumulate and then you dump it out the next day. or you constantly have it there, and just refill it. And I have it at my altar space. So that's a trick for anybody who's going through things, or they have nightmares, or like they just don't have the ease at night. Just have a glass of water or a bowl of water, a glass underneath their bed, and make sure you toss it out, because water will absorb that. I have a glass of water by my door. I have a glass of water at my altar space. I speak to the water. I program the water. And there's plenty of people who have talked about like manifestation and quantum leaping through water.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a I forgot what trick. I think it's called like the double cup
Oh yeah, what is
quantum
it?
leap.
Two cups and you pour it into each other.
Yes.
I heard about that
Mhm.
one. Yeah, it's like what you don't want, and then like what you do want, and then like you pour what you don't into the one that you do, and then you drink it, and then kind of like tell yourself something about it. It just
It's on YouTube.
yeah.
But it's fascinating. I mean,
Mhm.
honestly, you could program water however you want. And
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
freestyle all this
Yeah.
stuff that we're talking about and
Yeah.
do it to your own liking. Because at the end of the day, it's what resonates within you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like you may pick up something from Erica, pick up something from Sosa, pick up something from me, and then integrate it all and add something of your own juju into it. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the beauty of this stuff, is that, like you said, it's not like all in one space. Like, it's so expansive. There's so much you can do with energy and
Mhm.
water and just life. And that's what we want to
Yes.
remind you. You can do a lot in this life.
Yeah.
Everything to me, everything I do is like pretty much a spell that's getting ready throughout the day. So like,
I like that.
even
Mhm.
the other day in the shower, and I've never done this before, but it came to me. They just be like, "Hey, do this."
Who's
Say-
they?
say
Who's
this.
they? You got to explain that a little bit to the people watching.
They are many different things: spirit, source, collective. All my guides who help me. They could be my ancestors, the ones I know, or even ones I've never ever met, but they come to me, because not to say that not all of your ancestors come from unconditional love, because yeah, we have some messed up family, y'all know.
Mhm.
But the ones that love unconditionally, that's the
Yeah.
day I'm talking about. So it could be ones I knew, that I don't know, loved ones who have passed on that I'm aware of. It could be other animal spirits, nature spirits, even, they is whoever decides to show up in that moment to give me a message to help me out. So I was in the shower and I was shaving my legs, and they're like, "Hey, this is a spell, what do you want to cut off you? What do you want to remove? Say this." So I was like, okay. I forgot what the words were that day. It actually came in the moment and then left. So they said, "Hey, remove this and say thank you so it is after." So I was like, okay. So I was sitting there shaving things away I didn't need anymore, and that was a new thing. So it's like literally
Yes.
everything becomes a ritual, like you guys know,
Yeah.
and my YouTube people know. I only wear press-on nails because, well, one, I've realized that I don't want other people's energy going into me when they're working on my
Mhm.
nails, because I feel like our hands are wands, our fingers
They're like
are
antennas.
wands.
Hand
Yeah.
chakras. You have
Hand
hand chakras.
chakras.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is a wand. I was taught in my culture, hey, don't point, because this is a magic wand where you use your lips.
Mhm. That's what we do. That's what
Ah.
Filipino
Yeah.
people do too. We're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
Like,
Native
over there,
American
give me that.
people, we do it to indigenous people over there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I realized, let me do my own nails. And this was before quarantine, you guys. I'm just saying. I started
She's been
like,
doing this.
yeah,
She
for a
has.
minute. So I started doing press-on nails, and I'm drawn to whatever I need. So like, this is for a fresh start because it's like a fresh look. There's no color.
Right.
A week ago, I had yellow nails because I was calling in that happiness, sunshine, solar plexus chakra energy. Before that, it was orange. I was doing sacral energy. If they're super fancy, like, with gold and green,
Money.
it's a
Calling in
money
luxury.
spell.
Yeah.
Luxury.
Mhm.
Yes.
Sometimes I'll do animal prints if I need that animal's medicine. I had snake print nails because I needed that energy of rebirth and
Mhm.
Kundalini energy and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So everything's a ritual, down to, the nails, the hair. I charm my jewelry, when I get ready, when I'm drinking anything, not just water, it's an intention. When I'm stirring something,
When you're breathing. That's
breathing. Yes,
setting.
breathing. Breathing in what you want to call in, or maybe breathing in your healing and releasing what needs to come out. So everything is a spell. I don't feel like there's a right or wrong way. The only thing I will say is just be mindful of where your mental and emotional state is when you're about to do magic or intention, because if you are coming from a space of like desperation or fear, things like that, because you're opening portals and you're
Mhm.
now using a lot of energy, you can open yourself up to things that are not the best. I'll just say it at that. But if you're in a good place of more so like wanting to heal yourself, wanting to be aware of self, it just really depends on where you're coming from, where your heart is, know your heart. Then you can, bring in the goodness. So that's the only thing I would say. I don't think there's a right or wrong way of like, do it this amount of chanting with X amount of roses combined with this or that. Yes, these things can matter if you are aware of numerology and all of these things. All these things amplify, but it's the intention that matters. You don't even need tools at all. Like Raina said, we've talked about magic with breathing alone.
That is powerful, by the way,
Yeah.
too. She has a video on it on her YouTube channel, Psychic
Yeah.
Goddess Erica. Check it out. That video, I definitely upgraded my healing in such a way. Like, I went for a walk with my dog. I don't think I told you the story, but I went for a walk with my dog, and I was just like, I had just watched the video, and it's a nice little quick video with good tips, and I was like, all right, I'm breathing in, peace, and I was like, and I felt it
feel it. You feel
within
better,
me. I was like,
yes.
whoa, and I was like, all right, I'm breathing out what I don't need,
Yeah.
and I was like, whoo, it's breathing is powerful, and it's free. It's a free healing thing,
You have to do it.
Yeah.
I want to talk about though, you sense spirit, and I know like people, and we've had this discussion of like, what is higher self? How do we know if it is a light spirit? Is it a dark spirit? Because there's black, there's white, there's dark and light to everything. I was told through spirit that we were a light planet. Things happened. There was a shift in this planet, and there was a manipulation of light that became dark. That's why we call it darkness. And yes, there is theories of we were created in a dark hole, and I'm sure. But for this purposes that we're just looking at Earth, I want to, and I guess your opinion of how people can know what is a spirit that they should be working with versus something that they should protect their energy from.
How do you feel, in the moment? Because just to give some comparisons, like there have been times with, there have been spirits around, and I think people refer to them as shadow people the most, where they've been around, and the feeling is just cold. I feel freezing. The air feels thick and heavy. Like it just doesn't feel good. That's when it's like use your brain smarts, like if it feels
It's giving you the heebie-jeebies.
If it's not good, okay, this is something you need to protect yourself from. And again, check in with yourself. What have you been going through in your life? Have you been going through trauma? Have you been depressed? Where's your energy? What have you been doing? And that's because that means you're open up to that vibration. But also, when something comes in and it feels like love, and this may be honestly hard for some people if they don't know what love feels like. Maybe they didn't have parents that gave them love. Maybe they, what I mean. So then if you can't really distinguish what does love feel like, if you could just tap into something small that brings you joy, like maybe you to collect rocks as a child, and you remember what that felt like when you were a child. It's the only thing that made you happy. If you feel something any similar to that when a spirit is around you, then that's when you know this is a good energy. Let's talk to them. Let's work with it. Like connect to whatever you can that gives you that feeling, so that you can then relate it to the feeling you're getting from this energy that's coming around you. So that's kind of how I distinguish good or bad, for lack of better words. But you have it's how is it making you feel, and also where's your energy in that moment, because there will be times where you could be at a low and you could be depressed, and a good spirit is coming in and wanting to help you out and give you love. And it's kind of like it's a feeling. I can't really just explain it much further other than if you can connect it to one time where you felt that same vibration to the best of your ability. Try to connect it back.
And that comes back to intuition and how we exercise intuition. But I feel like all of us, some people like to shut that completely off, that knowing of what both of them are, and be like, I just don't even want to go into that world. There is no option. There is no escaping this.
I have a funny story about that. So I've been, connected with my higher self and my intuition. I'll be getting like vibes like I shouldn't do something or I should do something. And I because I'm in that, journey of like accepting what I'm feeling, I'll like test it. Like I'll get the message like, don't do that. And I'm like, don't do that? Okay, let me go do it and see what happens. And like I like to play
Sagittarius.
like, yeah, I'm like, "Ma, I be playing." I be like, all right, I'll be testing it. Like, okay,
No,
if that's
same.
really true.
Same.
But I do that because it's never fails me. It goes left. It goes the way I don't want it to go. It's not a fun time. And I'm like, dang, I should have listened to myself. But that teaches me, it's a learning experience for me to just go ahead and just listen to my first little inkling that I got and stop doubting. You know, just like how when you take a multiple choice test, they say, what's the first answer that comes to your mind? And also, I think picking up on what Erica was talking about, pay attention to your body.
Yeah.
My body has
sure.
been something that I've been learning to pay more attention to. I'll get hot, I'll get cold, I'll my head, like I'll, you know, move, I want to move my body, or like you'll feel tightness in your chest or your throat. Those are, you know, if you get feelings like that, that's probably not a good spirit. And also I want to touch real quick is I was getting ready for a Reiki session with Sosa the day before, and I was kind of, you know, grounding down, and I was telling myself, you know, I really want to be open to receive the messages from Sosa. Like I really want to be open to my higher self. And in my mind's eye, I saw a scary face like pop up, like I think I told you about this. I saw something scary, and I was like, only for my highest good, and that's only that's here for the best for me, and that's here to protect me, and that's it. Like anything else, get out. And it just vanished out of my mind's eye vision. But I remember I was like, whoa, I gotta be careful with my words. I'm like saying I realized immediately I was being too open, and I wasn't being careful with my words to what I was opening myself up to. So I was like, oh, for my highest good and for my best only, that's here to protect me, guide me, love me, and that's it. Anything else, bye-bye. And it immediately went away. And that's another thing, like you have to command the space, control the space. And Sosa, you know, a lot of people have taught me that. Sosa's really been telling me that about using your voice and things like that. So you can control, like if you feel the bad thing, tell it to go away. You have that power.
What I've found over time is that spirit is quite literal. So if you're like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Oh my God, like too literal.
too literal. And this happens all the time when I'm doing readings. So I'm like,
It's funny how literal.
Yeah.
how do I translate this direct information to, I don't want to say soften it a bit, but like to relate it to this person that is like, I know what they mean when they say it, but like I'll just give an example. This is why you say like define what you want, like in the way of like only in my highest good. Like I only want those that come from unconditional love to speak to me. You guys are welcome. Anyone else must go. But like for example, people will say all the time, do we have a future? Do you see a future with us? Well,
everyone has a future.
Yeah, it just might not be the one you want, or you know, maybe his future's over here, your future's over there. It may be separate futures. Yeah, you have futures. You know what I mean? But spirit is literal. So if somebody says like, "Do we have a future?" Spirit's like, "Duh." You know what I mean? But I know what they're asking of me. But spirit doesn't. I always have to kind of redefine people's questions because. You know, spirit is quite literal. So going back to say like words are spells. So just be very careful what you're saying, even when it comes to like self-talk that we say to ourselves. I catch myself all the time. Like none of us are perfect. We're still learning. I'm still, you know, even the teachers need reminders sometimes. Like I'll catch myself. I'm like, oh, I'm so dumb, you know? And then I'm like, oh,
I still do that too. I catch myself.
like I have to like go back and backtrack and like because whenever you're saying I am in front of something, that's goddess and God energy. You are now creating that.
I also want to say something that you gave us as advice on our group chat about how do we deal with energy and to sing a song that is very light, that brings us motivation or love in our hearts.
Yeah, that. So people will want to know what does my higher self sound like? And I wish I could remember the original YouTuber that I got this from. It was years ago though, so I apologize. This was not my idea. But if you want to know what your higher self sounds like, basically you start singing a song out loud with your voice. You know what your spoken voice sounds like. But then finish it in your head. And what does that sound like? That's the voice of your higher self.
Yeah.
And so that's how you can connect with knowing when your higher self is talking to you, that's the voice.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. And there's so much more conversation that we're going to bring into higher self. What is higher self? Because I don't think we really touched on that, but we will, or Google it. Actually, don't Google it. Meditate on it.
Yeah, meditate.
Don't Google it. Meditate on it. Before I want to close out, I want to give a shout out to my homie Stumi from Meter Mob. 2 B's at the end. You can check him out on Instagram at metermerch.com, I believe. But this is my friend Stumi's design. This is a female warrior goddess called Sochi. And I wore it because we are those goddesses that are
Love it.
really
I
rising
love
right
it.
now.
So cute.
I also have my purification oil that I use for a very grounding technique to protect your energy,
It
to really ground your
works.
energy. Yeah, especially with and it's crazy because I tested on both of you guys, and it's like automatically I can just tell your field just like whew, it comes back. So when we're talking about, how do you know what energy and you need to get some funk out, like this is a really great grounding tool. So we are the bridge between, and there's gonna be more to come from this podcast. You can check me out at lovequantumsoul.com, and also same thing on Instagram and on Twitter. And we will be uploading this on YouTube, and we will have some content on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is the bridge between 888. Yes.
Follow us.
All right, we're sending so much love. Thank you for sharing space with us, for watching. So please subscribe, please share, please comment, and maybe some things that you guys would want for us to talk about on a conscious level as we continue to explore this concept of what is our truth on Earth. So thank you.
Thank you,
Check y'all soon.
Bye.
Bye.